Damn. I gotta stop wearing shorts. It's getting cold out here. I think they said next week it might get down into the 20s early in the week. So, yeah, winter is not far away. Good evening, good people and Eagle fans. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope you all have had a great day. I have to say, I took a little bit of a break after my live stream. I did a live stream about 3:30 to about 6:30 or so, or 6, I can't remember. Just going through with the trade deadline and catching up with the Quinton Williams and the Logan Wilson trade news and things. And of course, I got laughed at by Philly 500 and Leo on Philly 500's channel. It's funny that any move that the Eagles make are always the greatest moves of all time. And the moves that the Cowboys made, they just literally said, oh, it's just stupid. Stupid. It's stupid moves. They're stupid. Well, Dan Saleo actually thinks they're good ones. So we'll talk about that tomorrow on the Dan Saleo Show at 4:30. 4:20 we'll start on my channel. I'll be back at the Red Brick House. I've got a lot of things. I've got literally, I got to go by my mom's house and my daughter's place. I got to go pick up some roofing supplies. And I got so many things I have to do before I get there. But I got to get there and be there before 4:30. So a couple of things. This day has been crazy because I was at my mama's house doing some stuff, helping her out and watching her beginning to put up her Christmas trees and things like that. And got a list of stuff she wants me to pick up. Flour and vanilla and sugar and things because she's going to be making some cookies and things for Thanksgiving. So I got to take care of Mom. And I was up on the roof today, and I was so disheartened by that loss last night that I just literally just felt lost, sick, and disgusted, and questioned why I devote so much time to football and the Dallas Cowboys. Literally, I joked about saying I might jump off of here. Trust me. I don't like getting close to the edge, so me jumping off ain't gonna happen. If you hear that I jumped off of the building, don't believe it. Somebody pushed my ass off. Okay, somebody tried to kill me, or they killed me, because I ain't jumping off a building. I'm not getting that close. Okay, I don't like to be up high. So I was there. My brother does saffron, and I was actually recording him talking about the saffron and looking at the flowers, and the little bees are flying in, the blooms, and just rolling around and just having a good old time with the saffron and pollinating and everything else. And then it came across Cowboys trade for Quinton Williams. And I was like, what? It was crazy. It was crazy. And I'm going to say Dak Prescott, let's fucking go, is that's what he was quoted as saying. He's pumped up. He's excited. Because you have to think that, you know, when the offense has been good and the defense is just literally just letting everybody, you know, third and long, boom, completion after completion after completion, you look at it and say, it doesn't matter what we do. It puts so much pressure on the offense that we can't make a mistake, and then our tackles don't. It was just like, it was just there. Now, I'm going to say the same thing I said to Philly 500 and Leo and Eagles Nation. Listen, they're like, why would you make these moves right now? You're not going anywhere. You're not making the playoffs, and you're probably right. I'm not one of those guys that keep saying that all you all ever say is we're going to the Super Bowl. That hasn't come out of my mouth in forever. I'm a realist. This move does not mean that now all of a sudden you are a contender to go to the Super Bowl. At least not right now. What this is trying to, A, at least be credible for the rest of the season. At least not look like that. I'm sure Jerry Jones And Stephen A. Smith is literally like, man, this is too easy, bro. I'm out. I can't. He's like, I'm gonna do the merciful thing, and I'm just gonna go because this is pathetic. This isn't even fun anymore at this point. That's how bad it was. And if you didn't do anything, and you're gonna keep doing that for another 8 weeks, that might be the thing that would finally kill Jerry Jones. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being serious. That game was so bad watching that defense doing what it's doing. And then we're fumbling left and right. And then Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton can't block anybody on the end. Watching my boy, Calais Campbell literally mollywopping people. Literally taking one arm and just throwing Big Nate like a rag doll. That did something to me terrible. But it doesn't mean what people are trying to say or trying to force down your throat and say, oh, look at this. Okay. ESPN is looking, or at least some people are looking at this and saying, this is a bad trade for the Cowboys. They gave up too much, a first and a second, and Mozzie Smith for Quinton Williams. Okay. All right, let's stop here. First of all, have you looked what we've done with second-round picks recently? Have you looked at what we have done trying to get defensive tackles? Quinton Bohannon, Neville Gallimore, although we should have kept Neville Gallimore. John Ridgway, Mozzie Smith. This right now, with just what he's doing this season, which they say is a step back, is better than anybody at least since Jay Ratcliffe. And I'm going to say his numbers and productions would go back to about the 90s, back when we had guys like Leon Lett. Okay? And you can't look at this as dumping Mozzie Smith and a second and a first, because we're not talking about a first this year. We're talking about a first that we got because of Micah. Now, a lot of people still say, well, you should have just kept Micah. But hold on for a second. And it's funny how Leo keeps trying to bitch slap me and they try to steal your thunder. Because if I went to you and I said, hey, listen, you're going to lose Micah Parsons, right? Right? We're going to lose Micah Parsons. But you're going to save shit. How much is Frank Clark? I think Frank Clark's like $20 million next year, and I think Quinton Williams is like $20 million. So technically, all right, here's what we're going to do. Micah is gone. You get Frank Clark, and you get Quinton Williams, right? And you take your second round pick and you turn it into a first. And you save about $7 million a year. What would you take? Would you take Micah? Or would you take changing a second round pick to a first round pick, taking Quinton Williams, Frank Clark, and $7 million? Door number one or door number two? Because that's how you have to look at it. Because here's the thing. You don't have a second round pick this year, but you have 2 picks in the first round. More than likely, your pick as a Cowboy will be a top 15. More than likely, your pick from Green Bay will be 25 or worse. That's still not bad. But now, you can do a 5-man front. And you can look at this and say, I can take Osa at 1 tackle. I can put Kenny Clark at nose. And I can put Quinton Williams at the other tackle. I can put Clowney on the outside. And I can put Donovan EZ on the other side. And then I've got Wilson at linebacker and Overshown. That, my friends, is a totally different defense than what we started out with to begin the season. That is a markedly better defense. But the reality and the realist in me is this isn't really for now. This is starting the process for next year. If you can get George Pickens signed, and if you look at the numbers, right now, over the cap projections right now, with everybody we have right now on here, of course, it doesn't have George Pickens. We're $35 million over right now. Okay. Which sounds bad. However, right now, even after these two moves that you've made, you still have $20 million that's going to roll over to next year. So that takes that 35 down to 15. I believe that Diggs is not going to be part of this team, and you can make him a post-June 1st cut, in which case you'll save $15 million. And I believe Terrence Steele will be the same thing, which I believe is $14 million. So that's 29 and 20 right there. Just those moves right there get you whole. But you have triggers across the board for Dak, for CD, for Osa, everybody you signed here. Deron Bland, going down here where you can grab $100 million. And if Jerry, who came hat in hand and finally admitted that he's the one to blame, that he's been trade, all the blah, 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 blah. Now, I don't know if Jerry's changed. And before you say, oh, you were killing Jerry before, now you love him. I didn't say I got love for him. But the first thing you have to do to fix the problem is to recognize there is a problem. And Jerry, at least, is admitting. Now, we've heard Jerry Jones's bullshit before. As he said before, when you're the owner and the GM, you can't fire the GM. Well, you can't fire the GM, but you can hire one. But he said, as the owner and GM, you can't fire the GM. But I have to change. I must change, and I will change. Yeah. Still waiting for that. So, what I will say is this. If you can sign George Pickens, and maybe you look at Big Nate for either Tyler Guyton or Terrence Steele, then you look at saying, if we can get a legitimate offensive tackle to go in there, you've got your offense set up for next year in signing Javonte Williams. You now have a defensive front that can get some experience now for the next 8 games. And you have 2 first-round picks, and you have some cash. Maybe Overshown ends up being great. Maybe. And you can count on him. You can take a first-round pick on wherever you are, if you're 10, 15, on a cornerback. You take the second pick on a linebacker, or maybe another cornerback. I don't know. But you're using that capital on the defense. And you then start looking at it and saying, okay, maybe next year we got a better chance. Because in the end, you got a couple of years, 2-3 years of Dak left. And I hope that Jerry's thinking that I screwed the pooch when I had Tony Romo, who was playing great, by not doing everything I could to help him. And I'm not going to make that same mistake now with Dak. That's all we can go by. Now, Eagle fans, of course, they're trying to tell you this move was stupid. They ain't going to super. Not no. It's building the future. It's building the future. And who knows? Who knows? Eagles have Detroit, although Detroit lost, I think, 3 offensive linemen. They got Green Bay, who they got Jordan Love, and they got us after that. And for us, we'll be playing at home, and that'll probably be like our Super Bowl. And if all of a sudden, let's say they lose 2 of those 3 games, things look a little different than they do right now. I'm not trying to say that we got a chance. We do, but we're going to have to be perfect. You have to run the gauntlet, and you're going to need help from other people. So, at this point, if that happens, then that's gravy. Right now, I'm saying we're playing it for next year. Alrighty, good people. It has been a very, very busy, extremely busy couple of days that have been an emotional roller coaster in so many ways. From having hope and stuff before the Cardinals game, to literally hitting rock bottom after that game, to waking up and hearing about the first trade we made and said, that's it. That's what Jerry was blow-baiting about, a 7th round pick trade, to just about giving up, to then the Quinton Williams trade. And it's just like up, down, up, down, 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 up, and who knows. But that's life. And I appreciate you guys going through these ups, downs, sideways, backwards, forward ride through life with me. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I thank you for all of your support. We're over 139,000 subscribers. And I cannot believe that. I literally cannot believe that. We've gained a whole lot of new subscribers because I've been doing some shorts. I don't usually do shorts, but with the way the economic times are getting, with the cost of surviving, just eating and putting food on the table and things, I've been trying to do some shorts about how to try and make your money go further. And, just being at the store, shopping around, I've done some things like, I'm trying to do like feeding a family of 4 for under $20 a meal. And so I've been giving tips and things on, some of the shopping, about shopping around or buying in bulk. Like, I bought a 25-pound bag of rice at BJ's, which is like $1 for a family serving for a meal, versus buying, the 5-pound one for $10 at the grocery store. And those have been getting a lot of you new subscribers to the channel. And I've got one that's blown up to 250,000 views, which I cannot believe. Just watching this short getting a couple thousand views an hour has just blown my mind. But times are getting tough. And this is where we need to look out for each other. There's a lot of people that are having problems getting medicines, eating, surviving. And this is where we as Americans have always been that helping each other people. So I'm hopeful and I'm thankful. And I'm going to try and do everything I can to help others. Remember, good people, tell the people you love how much you love them. You might not get the chance again, and I love you guys. Peace out. Damn, it's cold. Shit.